Wednesday, everybody. This is Pastor David, and we are coming to you from the Community Church of Mount Pleasant. I know that many of you watch us every week. You watch this little message every Wednesday and then a little short one on Friday. And I'm glad we can be friends and we can connect and talk. And this can keep you in touch with everything that's going on here at the church. And man, I know that some of you actually watch that go to other churches or aren't able to come to our church. And so I just count you as family, so consider yourself adopted, and we're just glad to be able to visit with you. Man, God is on the move here. You know, it's exciting to see the things that God is doing globally. I mean, there's little fires, the Asbury revival and different college campuses and different things and places that God is doing. You know, it's consistent that historically God has used younger people, and a lot of these college kids are just hungry and they open their minds and their hearts to God, and sometimes they're more attentive than some of us older people, you know, because we get kind of set in our ways and in our routines, and sometimes it's awkward for these kind of things to upset our life a little bit. But I'm just excited to know that God is on the move. And you know, I also am encouraged because God's on the move here at our church. Every Sunday is an amazing thing. It's a special thing. God is doing miracles. People are coming to Christ. I'm amazed at how many people we're sending out around the world to do ministry. People we've commissioned and prayed for, and most of them are young, able to go off and just like Caitlin on Sunday, and we prayed over her family. Right now, our team is in Nicaragua. I got a picture and a text today, earlier from them about being in Nicaragua, and just God's doing a lot of stuff, and a lot of our kids are growing up learning to listen to the Lord and follow Him, and a lot of that's because we have so many great volunteers. But yeah, God's at work, and I'm just excited about that. We started a new series Sunday, and it is called The Jesus Stories. This is parables, and we learned a story Sunday about a big dinner, a banquet, and we learned some things like don't put yourself ahead of others. In fact, we should put others ahead of ourselves, and we should include other people in our plans and our parties and the things we do. And then I think the thing I remember most about the last big old banquet that was there's still room. Think about that. There's still room at God's big banquet. He's invited everybody. He made a way. He paid the way. Amazing banquet, food and fellowship and all these things. So, but there's still room for folks. And it's our job to go out there and get that invitation out. So anyway, we got some neat stories. This week is another good parable that you're going to like about two sons. And it's about actions speak louder than words. We'll talk about that from book of Matthew. So anyway, some neat things coming up. This weekend we have men's breakfast Saturday. I hope you can come to that. There's a event Saturday with the Tribe and the Classics. This is kind of a crossover event, a hybrid event between the youth group and our senior adults. And they're going to get together and have some fun and food. And man, I'm excited about all the things God's doing. And there's a play Saturday night involving people in our church, in our community. It's for the library here in Mount Pleasant. Our mayor's in it, Pastor Jason's in it, several people in our church, and so I know there's just a lot of good fun things going on. Next Monday is Ignite. I hope you can come to that, and just lots of good things. And men's retreat's coming up next month. I hope you've signed up for our beach retreat, and it's going to be a good time. Well, let me give you a little devotional today. Chapter 43 of Isaiah, and here's my question. My question is, what are you afraid of? Because fear is paralyzing. Fear is it's bondage. It's a way to control people. It's the way Satan uses to oppose people of the Lord. And fear is a very damaging thing. And let me ask you, what are you afraid of? Is it a financial thing, or a relationship thing, or a physical concern you have, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. I hope you're not afraid for your soul, because you can get that solved. You can solve that today by letting Jesus Christ be the Lord of your life. And then you won't have to fear that anymore. Well, I want you to know that he said in Isaiah chapter 43, a couple times, he said, fear not. God said to his people, don't fear. You don't have to fear. So whatever it is you're afraid of, I want you to think about that. I want you to isolate it. And I want you to give that to God. And you attack that fear, because God does not want you to be in bondage of fear. Whatever it is you're worried about, give that to God. And here's what he says. You're going to be encouraged. Isaiah 43. God is talking to his people, which is Israel. And he has promises for his, just like your children. You have a will for your children, and you have promises, and you have commitments to your children. Well, Israel is God's people, but something happened. God has given us the opportunity to be his children through adoption. That's what happens when you get saved. You become one of God's children. So here's what he says. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee. God made you. He created you. O Jacob, and he that formed thee. O Israel. He's talking about Israel, God's people, which we have been adopted into that family. And here's what he says. Fear not. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Now, think about how applicable that is to Israel. Israel is a tiny nation, geographically. It's a small nation. And everybody's always, over the years, historically been after Israel. They've been trying to eliminate Israel. And they have many, many enemies. But guess what? They're still here. Because God has taken care of them. He's covered them. He's taken care of them. So God says to his people, don't be afraid. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. You know what it means to be redeemed? It means you buy something back. It's something that used to belong to you, and now it's not yours anymore, and you go buy it back. That's really twice yours. And God said, don't worry about it. Don't be afraid, because I got you. You've been redeemed. I have called thee by your name. You're mine. God says you belong to me. So there's no reason to be afraid of conditions or catastrophes. Listen, life's going to get difficult. Sickness is going to happen. You're going to lose people. You're going to have a bad day. Don't be afraid. When you pass through the waters, and you ever been out on the water and a storm comes up and man, it's dangerous and you're scared. Don't be afraid, because when you pass through the waters, God said, I'll be with you. I will be in that boat with you. Through the rivers, and they won't overflow. When you walk through the fire, you ever feel like you're in the fire? I have a couple times, and I get scared and I worry. Man, I fuss, and God says, don't worry about that. When you're in the fire, you won't get burned, because I've got you. Neither shall the flame kindle upon you. You know why? Verse 3 says, because I'm the Lord thy God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I am your God says, I'm your deliverer. I'm your Savior. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for you. I've got all this covered. I've got you covered. I've got you. You're my people. You're my kids. Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore will I give men for thee, and people for thy life. He said, you're honorable. You belong to me. I love you. And in verse 5, I close with this verse. He said again, second time, fear not, because I am with you. Sometimes when you're alone, you get scared, because it's hard to be alone. Just remember, you're never alone. God says, I am with you. Nothing's going to happen to you today that he don't already know about. Nothing's going to happen to you that God isn't okay with. And whenever stuff does happen, he is in there with you. I'm with you. I will bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west. Fear not. Fear not. You know what will help us with that? Don't look around. Don't look around, because when you look around, you'll start seeing bad things and you'll start getting scared, because the world is a mess. It's crazy out there. Look up, because he's with you. He's right there. He's in that room with you. If you are His child, He loves you. And if you're not, boy, I would encourage you today. You trust Christ. Say yes. Come to Jesus. Don't be afraid. I want to encourage you with that. God bless you. Thank you for letting me visit. Come see us here at CCMP. We love you. Have a good day.